I have people that ask me sometimes, is it possible to have a relationship with a narcissist? Because a lot of times you've invested so much. You've invested time, you've invested energy, you've invested thousands of dollars a lot of times. You've invested your heart. You've invested so many different things into this other person, and you're like, I just want to make it work. Is it possible? There's a lot of times that people get hung up on the label. They get hung up on the label that say, gosh, I'm so glad to know that they're a narcissist, now I can leave. Or sometimes they're like, I don't want to leave yet because they're not diagnosed as a narcissist, so there might be a hope, there might be a chance. What I want to tell you today is if you're with a narcissist, a toxic person, a sociopath, a psychopath, an abuser, any of the above, and they're not being honest, they're not being vulnerable, and they're not putting in the work to change their life, there's no hope. Sometimes people on the platform think that I'm on this channel to bring hope. You don't hear me say that. You hear awareness, growth, healing, and change. And I work with people on a day-to-day basis. I work with those abuse survivors. I work with people that are stuck in those relationships trying to get an exit plan, a strategy to get out. I work with people once they're out to try to rewire their minds and help them find that healing and to change their perspective of the situation so they can get out completely. Not just physically, but mentally, emotionally, spiritually, and they can focus on their growth and on their change. If you're in those relationships and you're wondering, hey, is there hope? The answer typically is no. And a lot of you don't want to hear that, but a lot of you need to hear that. And when you take away the labels, when you take away the psychopath, the sociopath, the cluster B, the personality disorders, when you slide everything back, all you have left to evaluate in that moment is just what you can see, what you observe, and what you know. And those aspects are so key and so vital because you're in a war. You're in a battle with another person. You don't see it half the time. You don't know it. You might see it in fights and arguments, but you don't know the pervasive psychological warfare that you're going through when you're with a person like that. And they're coming at you, they're mirroring, they're projecting, they're gaslighting, they're twisting your reality and your perspective of everything that you see. So what I want to tell you today is focus on actions. You've heard people say multiple times, actions speak louder than words, and it cannot be said loud enough. Because with a narcissistic relationship, toxic relationship, you have people that create what's called a cognitive dissonance. And they create that by saying one thing and doing the opposite. They'll tell you that they love you, and then they'll go out and cheat on you. They'll tell you that they respect you, and then they'll be trash talking you behind your back. And all this stuff will be going on, and as you learn about it, as you find out about it, they explain it away, they excuse it, they gaslight you, they make you doubt your reality of what you just experienced. And when that happens, you start to feel crazy, and you start to wonder, maybe this is not as bad as what it actually is. Because they'll try to do that. They'll try to manipulate the entire situation so that they look better and so that you feel crazy. You're in a psychological war. And that war started early on. That war started before you even knew it was a war. That war started before you even knew you were in danger. Someone was stalking you. Someone was seeking you out. Someone had their eye on you saying, this person is vulnerable. This person is naive. This person is willing to let me break their boundaries. A lot of times people ask, how can I look less attractive for the narcissist? Well, think of what's attractive to the narcissist and do the opposite. A narcissist doesn't like boundaries. A narcissist doesn't like people that hold those boundaries, that hold consequences, that hold people accountable, that stick up for themselves, that know where they're going and they don't let anybody sway them. Narcissists don't like those type of people. Be those type of people. Because you are in a war. Now that war started before you even knew it. It started with grooming. And if you guys haven't seen some of my videos on narcissists groom their victims, check out those videos. Because what it is they groom you early on, connecting with you, building that bond that turns into a trauma bond, building that connection that makes you feel like you've never connected better than your life with anyone else. It's because you haven't, because it's impossible. Because the person you're connecting with is a facade, is someone that is fabricated to mirror you and to make you feel good about yourself and to make that relationship feel like it's the best thing ever, when in reality, it's fake. And as a narcissist grooms their victim, breeding off of their insecurities, breeding off of the things you guys have in common, making you feel like you're the most beautiful person in the world so they can tear you back down, making you feel like you guys are soulmates, connected, tied, best together, never felt that way, you name it. That war started before you had a clue what you were getting into. As you gain your awareness now, as you start to learn, you need to understand that that war has been going for a while. And the other person has built up a battery and an army and a lot of ammunition against you. So it's time to arm yourself. It's time to prepare for the fight, because if you're still in this relationship, you have a ways to go to get out. You have a ways to go to fight for yourself and to find healing, change. And you can. Most people feel like it's impossible because they've been addicted to another person. They've been conditioned to accept that type of love. They've been conditioned to accept that this is love, this is reality, when in reality, it is not. The narcissist puts you in that fog to be able to confuse you. Think of it this way: a narcissist will take any aspect, any divisive means, any method necessary to put you in a fog. To put you in the aspect of you're in the middle of a field. Narcissist takes you, puts you in the middle of a field, and surrounding you in that field is all of this fog. And it's filled up of manipulation, of gaslighting, of lies. And you start to wonder, what's right? What's wrong? What's up? What's down? What's left? What's right? Like, where am I? What am I doing? And you start grasping at air, trying to figure out where you are, what you're supposed to do, what is real in the relationship. And the narcissist takes you, puts you in that fog, because when they put you in that fog, they are controlling all of it. And as they control all of it, they can shift your perspective. They can shift where you are. They can shift your focus. And when they do that, they are ultimately in control. Maybe you're in the relationship and you've reacted in a way that you've never thought was even humanly possible. You've been a calm-going person. You've been easygoing. You've been a even-keeled person. And you're here yelling or screaming. You're smashing plates. You're throwing things. You're yelling more than you've ever yelled. And you're wondering, like, this isn't me. Like, I have never been this way in my entire life. I've never been this way with other people. I'm not this way with anybody else. But the anxiety, the stress, the frustration, it just bubbles out. Like, what's wrong with me? You might be dealing with reactive abuse. With the aspect that the narcissist, the toxic person, is going to push you so far to break you down. It's going to push you so far to make you react. And when you react, they realize at that moment that they're in control. They get that high from controlling another person, from manipulating another person to do what they didn't want to do. You didn't want to yell. You didn't want to act that way. You didn't want to throw that plate. But the narcissist is like, I made you do that. You're in a psychological war. And it's time to arm yourself. It's time to arm yourself by learning about narcissism. Learning about what is narcissism, what does it look like, how does it act. You can learn that by being on my channel, by being on other people's channels that talk about narcissism. There's a lot of good channels out here to focus on this, to help you, because the only way that you're going to get free from an abuser, from a narcissist, from a toxic person, is to deal with the truth. Because the truth will set you free. If you're confused, if you're wondering what's going on, if you feel like you're stuck in that fog, I'd love to be able to talk to you. I talk to people on a day-to-day basis, and I help them break out that trauma bond, find healing and growth, find change and clarity, and see which direction they need to go to stay free long-term. We have some awesome stories, some awesome success from people who have done that, who have put in the work on a day-to-day basis, on a weekly basis, that have gotten free and are living an awesome life. More confident, more happy, less stress, less anxiety, and living their best life. If that's you and you want that, and you don't have that because of the toxic relationship you're in, the person pulling you back down in the quicksand, we'll love to reach out to you. One of the other resources that I have out there that I'd like to offer to you guys is the NARC app, Narcissistic Abuse Recovery Community. It's in the bio down below. You can grab that. You can download that. You can get on there because there's over 2,000 people at this point in the past month or so that have jumped on this app, that are starting to learn about narcissism, that are starting to assess where they are, that are starting to assess, is my partner a narcissist, and they're trying to get better. And with this, it provides a community, a platform of like-minded people that are either in the relationship, out of the relationship, but they are the victims. They are the people who had to go through all of this shit. And now they're here finding growth, finding healing, finding change, and encouraging each other along the way. If you want to be a part of that community, we'd love to have you join. Click on the NARC app down below. If you want to talk sometime, click on the one-on-ones. We'd love to interact with you there as well. If you haven't, follow on some of the other social media platforms. We're dropping nuggets of truth every single day. Facebook, TikTok, Instagram. Would love to have you out there to be able to connect with you, to be able to help you find healing, growth, and change on a day-to-day basis.